spend some time talking about probably the most controversial thing we're going to talk about today, which is the iBuyer marketing. Now, we talked about doing some jujitsu here, Gary. Here's the thing. I got two examples that I wanted to share with everybody, because what they're doing, I mean, these companies are spending, gajillions of dollars marketing to specific neighborhoods, right? You guys know this if you're in any of the test markets. I was talking to one of our clients in Phoenix, and it's been heavily promoted for the last, like 5 years even. In Austin's a little bit newer. But what the folks who are doing this really well, what I've noticed is that they're taking a very proactive approach. And I'm going to show you two different proactive approaches that you guys can take. Here's the thing, and this is what the main takeaway is. Don't leave the education of what these companies do, right? Whether it's OfferPad, Zillow, Opendoor, Redfin, don't leave the education of what these companies do to them. We must be the one.
Because you know what they're going to do? They're going to go online, they're going to research it, and then they're going to trust the iBuyer company as to actually what they're producing for them.
So I'm going to show you two different examples. The first one comes from one of our members, Mark Phillips. And you can see what he's doing is he's educating people on what the cost of the convenience actually is, right? So what he's doing is he's got, hey, here's what the fees are and what the opportunity would be if you list with a realtor. And here's what it would be with an iBuyer. And you can see the cost of that convenience that you're paying for is about, on average, $34,000. And so he's educating people so that they're not just taking the company's point of view on what this offer looks like. And so that's taking a proactive approach. It's educating people on the cost of that convenience. I've got another slightly different approach, and this one comes from Randy Lewis out of the Phoenix area, who serves the Phoenix area. And what he does is on every single listing appointment that he goes on, he includes the conversation, he includes the option about iBuyers into his listing presentation. What he does is he makes sure that he's the one who brings it up. He knows that they've heard of him, right? He knows that they are aware of them. What he's doing is he's going to bring it up and vet whether or not it's a potential solution for them. And then if it's something that they want to pursue, he'll get a signed listing agreement, and then he'll represent them to get a better deal on their home than what the algorithm just spits out. So he will represent them to those. And so that is how Randy Lewis is doing it. And so in both cases, Gary, I think the approach here is to not just here's my observation. People are kind of scared of it. And that's like most of us, right? Like, gosh, what does this mean? Does this eliminate us as real estate professionals, right? So there's this one side. And then there's the other extreme, which is what I've heard from a lot of like industry leaders, which is like, hey, it's such a small percentage of the market. It's just a fad. It ain't going nowhere.
Well, here's the thing, Chris, is that anytime anything comes in new into the marketplace, I think most of us get fearful because we're uneducated of what it is. And what fear leads to is paralyzation. And if we get paralyzed by something like this, instead of taking action around it, well, then we're just abdicating that education and that knowledge transference to these other companies. And if we're doing that, what kind of professional are we? Our clients are looking to us for our interpretation of what is happening in the marketplace and what that means to them. And by both of these offers, number one, by what Mark Phillips is doing is just educating people is like, if you sell your house with one of these iBuyers, which is cool, you can do that. This is what it means to you. And then this, with the iBuyer representation, it's a completely different shift. So there are ways that we can take control of what is happening in our own world and educate our clients, because that's the number one thing they need from us is they need to know, what the heck does this mean to me, Chris?
Yeah, and I think that rather than be afraid of it and then than ignore it, right? Like I feel like a lot of industry leaders a long time ago said, yeah, that Zillow thing is never going to actually be a thing. And look what happened, right? So I think it's important to look at the trends, and look at the opportunities and get in front of it, right? Even if it is a fad, get in front of it. Be the person who understands and can explain it. And, like whether you're going the route from Mark, make sure they know what they're getting into, or if you're going the route that Randy does and including it as an option, like where he'll represent them, he collects a full fee. And then he represents them to these companies and then works with them that way. Like you can choose, and you might come up with a different way of doing it.